Yeah, I hope everyone is staying safe, and my condolences to South London devotees for losing your first congregation member. So you had the program yesterday, right?
Yeah, I think at the moment there are programs going on every day. Yeah, as in like it's separately. Yeah.
Yeah. But everyone else is fine. No one else got sick.
At the moment, yeah, we don't know of any others who are sick. So. The family members are all fine at the moment. So.
Okay. So we'll be praying that Krishna would protect everyone. We don't want to lose devotees to these wars. So,
Maharaj, you know Sudevi and Vaishnav?
oh yes.
They were not well, but they're back to normal now.
Oh, they got the virus?
Yes, a little bit of virus, because we saw her the other day, Sudevi, and that's when she said that they haven't been well, and that was the first time she was coming out shopping.
I see, but is it coronavirus?
No, she didn't say anything because she was far away from us, and she was wearing a mask and gloves and everything.
I see.
I haven't got her phone number, so I don't have any contact details for her. So
But they're not like...
No, they were okay, but they said she was pretty ill. That's all she said.
Okay, all right, yeah. There are apparently some simple remedies for coronavirus, but yeah, if someone gets really sick with this dry cough, let me know and I can explain. It's kind of something which has some evidence. They're already checking it scientifically. Simple remedy, but seems to be effective. So we just had Nrsimha Chaturdashi, and I wanted to offer to read and discuss very interesting verse from Prahlad Maharaj. So this is Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 14. And maybe Utkarshani can chant Sanskrit for us.
यथा भ्राम्यत्ययो ब्रह्मन् स्वयम् आकर्ष्य सन्निधौ तथा मे विद्यते चेतश्चक्रपाणिर्यदृच्छया.
Thank you. Somebody else wants to read translation?
I can do the translations, Maharaj.
Please.
Brahmanas, as iron attracted by magnetic stone moves automatically toward the magnet, my consciousness, having been changed by his will, is attracted by Lord Vishnu, who carries a disc in his hand. Thus I have no independence.
Okay. Somebody else can read purport for us? Maybe one paragraph at a time, because it's very important purport, and we want to stop and discuss some details.
I can read the first part.
Yeah.
For iron to be attracted by a magnet is natural. Similarly, for all living entities to be attracted toward Krishna is natural, and therefore the Lord's real name is Krishna, meaning he who attracts everyone and everything. The typical examples of such attraction are found in Vrindavan, where everything and everyone is attracted by Krishna. The elderly persons like Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Devi, the friends like Sudama, and the other cowherd boys, the gopis like Srimati Radharani and her associates, And even the birds, beasts, calves, and cows are attracted. The flowers and fruits in the gardens are attracted. The waves of the Yamuna are attracted. And the land, sky, trees, plants, animals, and all other living beings are attracted by Krishna. This is the natural situation of everything in Vrindavan.
All right, thank you. So it's a very wonderful purport, and it brings, Srila Prabhupada brings Vrindavan to us, even though we are not going to Vrindavan, but Vrindavan is coming to us. Srila Prabhupada brought us Vrindavan with his purports. That's why Maharaj Yudhishthira is glorifying Vidura in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He says, Baba Ditha Bhagavata Tirtha Bhutam Swayam Vipho Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Gantastana Gadabrita. That sages like yourself are verily pilgrimage places personified, because you carry the Supreme Lord in your heart. Any place you go turns into place of pilgrimage. So we can see that Prabhupada brought Vrindavan to the whole world, opened so many embassies of Vrindavan in practically every country. And so we can see through this purport how he's carrying Krishna is in his heart. And so meditating on all the eternal associates of the Supreme Lord, like Nanda and Yashoda, Sridhama, Sudama, and gopis like Radharani's, and all the associates of Krishna in Vrindavan, how they are all attracted to Krishna. And there are so many descriptions given to us in Srimad Bhagavatam, how Krishna is attractive, that when Krishna is playing his flute, the moving living entities like cows, gulls, and others, they stop moving. Even the Yamuna stops its flow, and does not move. But non-moving living entities like stones and trees, they start moving. And Krishna is naturally attractive because he has so many amazing qualities. In Nectar of Devotion, 64 qualities of the Supreme Lord are described, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. Actually, Rupa Goswami says the Lord has unlimited qualities, and this is just a little sample. And of all the attractive qualities of Krishna, he has beauty, he has fame, he has power, he has knowledge, he has renunciation, etc., etc. But his compassion, his kindness is one of the most attractive qualities of Krishna. That's shown in the episode when Gadadhar Pandit, associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was invited by Mukunda to go and see Pundarik Vidyanidhi, very famous devotee. And he heard a lot about his ecstatic devotional service. And Gadadhar was very much curious to see Pundarik Vidyanidhi, but Pundarik happened to be very wealthy Vaishnava. And when they came to his house, then he was sitting on a couch, very opulent couch, foam-like white pillows on all sides. And Chaitanya Bhagavat is describing that he had this mustache, you know, how they do it in India, they kind of tweak them to be pointed upwards. And then he was kind of lying, almost lying, you know, sitting in a very relaxed way in this on this couch. And he was, you know, it was very opulent. There were mirrors, and he actually held a mirror in his hand, and he was looking at his face, and you know, like tweaking his mustache, twirling his mustache, and he was chewing pan, betel nut, and there was a spittoon next to the couch, and he was spitting in that spittoon, and there were fruits nearby him, and servants, they were fanning him with the fans and chamaras. So Gadadhar Pandit was very confused because he expected to see, you know, some other kind of behavior and some other kind of scene. And so Pundarik Vidinidhi resembled complete materialist who is just enjoying life. And he had this doubt in his mind, you know, how can he be a great devotee and then behave in this way? But then Mukunda, you know, devotees are very sensitive and very attentive because they chant the holy name in a very attentive way. So they're very well connected with Krishna, and because Krishna is, Paramatma is in everyone's heart, so devotees can actually read other people's minds without any difficulty, and they can actually know what others are thinking and how they are feeling, etc., etc. So Mukunda, just looking at Gadadhar, immediately realized what kind of thoughts he has in his mind. And then he decided to help him to understand the real position of Pundarik Vidinidhi. And then he quoted from the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, verse spoken by Uddhava, expressing his pain of separation from Krishna. Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam jagamse payapyasatvi lephe gatim adrishitam tatunyam kambadayalum sharanam brajamam. And so this verse was saying that, alas, will I ever find the master who is more merciful than, or will I ever find master who is as merciful as he who gave the position of his nurse, you know, position equal to his mother, to a vicious witch demon who came trying to poison him with the breast smeared with the, you know, deadly poison. So we know that this was the first demoness in Vrindavan, who came trying to kill Krishna on the request of Kamsa. And Krishna, even though he killed her physically, but spiritually he gave her a very nice position in the spiritual world, equal to the position of his mother or nurse. And after Mukunda quoted this Sanskrit verse, you know, the behavior of Pundarik Vidinidhi immediately changed. It was as if he was woken up. You know, he was like sitting there kind of enjoying himself, but when he heard this verse, he became so alarmed and he started crying, you know, profusely, and he started shaking uncontrollably, and he started shouting, "Where will I find Krishna?" And he started rolling on the floor and, you know, basically destroying everything in the house in his fit of ecstasy. And Gadadhar Pandit, he was very surprised. He never saw such an exhibition of love in separation from Krishna. And then he came to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he said, it's amazing what kind of Krishna consciousness Pundarik Vidinidhi has. And when I saw him, I mistook him for a materialist. So how can I neutralize my offense? And maybe I should take initiation from him. Maybe I should accept him as my guru. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, yes, this is very good idea. You take initiation from Pundarik Vidinidhi. Because Lord Chaitanya loved Pundarik Vidinidhi very much, and he was saying, he's my father, like that. And yes, all these devotees of Krishna, they feel so much separation from Krishna, they feel so attracted by Krishna. Even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he exhibited so much love and separation when he was complimented by other devotees how much love for Krishna he is exhibiting, how much love for Krishna he has. Lord Chaitanya was looking at them and he said, me, I don't have any love for Krishna because I am separated from Krishna and I'm still maintaining my body. I haven't died of separation from Krishna yet. So that's the proof that I don't really have any love for Krishna. So, of course, that's his humility, but he's showing what kind of attitude devotees have, that without Krishna, they are not even interested to live, because Krishna is so attractive and he is so merciful. And yeah, he is so compassionate. He's a kind friend of everyone. And just one little episode from Vrindavan to help us understand how kind Krishna is, that when Krishna was going out to herd cows, and actually first he was going out to herd little calves, and it was a big festival, Gopashtami, in Vrindavan, and all the residents of Vrindavan, they were providing him with different items, giving him different gifts. Someone gave him a flute, someone gave him a buffalo horn, someone gave him a rope to tie the cows, someone gave him a turban, someone gave him chadar, etc., etc. So many things Krishna was receiving. And Mother Yashoda also wanted to give Krishna a gift for this special occasion, so she brought a very nice umbrella, and which was supposed to be carried by a servant over Krishna's head. because Krishna is not just an ordinary cowherd boy, he is a prince. And so he has all this regalia. And she also gave Krishna a pair of very nice shoes to wear. And Krishna looked at the umbrella and shoes and he said, will my calves have also shoes and umbrellas for themselves? And each calf will have a servant to carry the umbrella. And Nanda Maharaj has 900,000 cows, and there are even more calves. And Bhagavatam gives an estimation of how many cows are there. It says asankitai. Asankitai means, sankhya means to count, right? And asankitai means you cannot count. So countless numbers of cows. And Mother Yashoda looked at this, ocean of cows, and she said, I'm sorry, Krishna, but I wouldn't be able to do it. Even for you, provide all your cows with these umbrellas and shoes. But then Krishna said, if my cows will not have this facility, I will not take them also, because I should not have better facility than those thorns. But Krishna said, no, that my cows go barefoot, I will also go barefoot. And Krishna's body is very delicate, right? It says that even if the leaf touches Krishna's skin, the skin changes color at that place. So Mother Yashoda couldn't figure out how, how he will go without any shoes, but Krishna was very determined. Actually, later, Padmavati, who was Kamsa's mother, right? Wife of Ugrasena, and she was criticizing Brajabasis. She said, these Brajabasis are so cruel, especially Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. When he was so young, just 3 years old, they sent him out to the pasturing grounds to work. It's like child labor, exploiting children. And they didn't give him any shoes. Little did she know that this is what Krishna wanted, and he flatly refused to wear shoes. Apparently, they wore many sharp stones or rocks in Vrindavan at the time. But then what happened was that actually all the cows, they went to their mothers and they told, because apparently there was a special Gopashtami, special celebration for Krishna's going out to the pasturing grounds on the day, and next morning he was supposed to go. And so then the calves went back to their mothers and told them that what Krishna said. And cows were so impressed by Krishna's self-sacrifice that it says that they broke out of the barns at night, and they started running all over Braj, and with their hard hooves, cows have hard hooves, they were breaking and smashing all the rocks into powder to make sure that Krishna will never, have to step on any sharp rock. And that's why even today, you go to Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram Mandir, and this area is called Raman Reti, right? Raman means the one which gives pleasure, and Reti is dust. So they broke all the sharp stones into dust. So this is this kind of relationship Krishna has with his devotees in Vrindavan, his cows, his calves, what to speak of, his parents, his friends, his girlfriends, birds, beasts, everyone. And therefore Krishna is very natural object of everyone's love and affection and attraction. And then we'll read on and see what's happening in the material world. So we had a glimpse of the spiritual world. Now we'll look into material world, back to the material world. So someone else wants to read next paragraph?
I can read it, Maharaj.
Sure.
Just contrary to the affairs of Vrindavan is the material world, where no one is attracted by Krishna and everyone is attracted by Maya. This is the difference between the spiritual and material worlds. Hiranyakashipu, who was in the material world, was attracted by women and money, whereas Prahlad Maharaj, being in his natural position, was attracted by Krishna. In replying to Hiranyakashipu's question about why Prahlad Maharaj had a deviant view, Prahlad said that his view was not deviant, for the natural position of everyone is to be attracted by Krishna. Hiranyakashipu found this view deviant. Prahlad said because of unnaturally unattracted by Krishna. Hiranyakashipu therefore needed purification.
So this is very interesting because we might ask a question that if Krishna is so attractive, and I think it is true to many of us, maybe not every single one, but still large percentage, we can say, of us might be wondering that if Krishna is so attractive, why am I not spontaneously, automatically attracted by Krishna and always thinking of Krishna only and never forgetting Krishna and being in full ecstasy, chanting his holy names, the greatest calamity in my life. If someone, wants to stop me to chant my japa, for example, right, etc. So we're supposed to be feeling like this because it's described that Krishna is like a magnet, we are like an iron, and so we should be automatically drawn towards Krishna. But then it's not happening, right? So why is that? And Srila Prabhupada actually explained that, yes, Krishna is a magnet and we are like iron, but there are conditions sometimes which prevent iron to be attracted to magnet. And this condition is called rust. If metal or iron is covered by rust, especially like thick layer of rust, the iron will not be attracted to magnet. And so actually what is the rust? It is lust. lust is the rust on the soul. And that's why Krishna speaks in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita that as fire covered by smoke, or embryo is covered by the womb of the mother, or dust covered by, mirror covered by the dust. So the living entity is covered by lust in the material world to different degrees, right? And this is why the first verse of Shikshashtaka, the very first thing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, that Krishna consciousness practice of Bhakti Yoga, the very first thing it does, it cleanses the mirror of the heart from the dust accumulated for years. So that's why Prahlad Maharaj says that Hiranyakashipu therefore needed purification. All right, so anyone else wants to continue to read purport?
As soon as one is purified of material contamination, he is again attracted by Krishna. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam. In the material world, everyone is contaminated by the dirt of sense gratification and is acting according to different designations, sometimes as a human being, sometimes a beast, sometimes a demigod or tree, and so on. One must be cleansed of all these designations. Then one will be naturally attracted to Krishna. The bhakti process purifies the living entity of all unnatural attractions. When one is purified, he is attracted by Krishna and begins to serve Krishna instead of serving Maya. This is his natural position. A devotee is attracted by Krishna, whereas a non-devotee, being contaminated by the dirt of material enjoyment, is not. This is confirmed by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 7:28. Yesam twanta gatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam drida vrittaha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. One must be freed from all the sinful dirt of material existence. Everyone in this material world is contaminated by material desire. Unless one is freed from all material desire, anya bhilashita sunyam, one cannot be attracted by Krishna.
Thank you. This was very classical BBC style reading with very nice Sanskrit pronunciation. So, welcome. Yeah, Prabhupada quotes very interesting verse from Bhagavad Gita 7:28, and he explains, this verse explains what do we require for being determined in our Krishna consciousness. Bhajanti mam dridhavrataha. And so it all starts with being completely free from all sinful activities, not doing anything sinful, and being completely absorbed in pious activities. And pious activities in here do not just refer to, mundane piety, planting trees or digging wells or helping old women across the road or something like that, because these things do not necessarily help us to become devotees. So the kind of piety which is described in this verse is technically called Bhakti Unmukha Sukriti, that this is piety which comes from devotional service. And what kind of piety is that? It is anything which is connected to Krishna consciousness. So when we come in contact with these items or elements, then we get this piety. For example, if you pass by Harinam party and you may have no idea who are these people, what are they doing, very strange looking people. But you hear the holy name, you see the devotees, automatically you develop special spiritual piety, even though you may not know it. And prasadam is also giving spiritual piety. Books, whether one sees or touches the books, what to speak of reading the books, Prabhupada's books, one gets this spiritual piety. Seeing the deities gives one spiritual piety. All these things are helping us to advance in Krishna consciousness, all these elements. And sometimes we don't know about the value in the beginning. People don't know about the value of Krishna conscious elements and practices. So they develop this piety, but they don't know about it. And that's why it's called Agyata Sukriti, unknown piety. But then after this piety accumulates, then they shift to the stage of conscious practices, like most of us, most of our devotees do, because we've accumulated enough spiritual piety to appreciate Krishna consciousness, then now we are willingly practice it. And so this piety helps us. That's why, yeah, in the beginning, when Prabhupada was speaking about this to New Yorkers, people who hardly even heard of piety or goodness, that was something alien to them. And he was saying, like only the most pious people, they become devotees. And one disciple was sitting there and listening, and he said, Prabhupada, you saying that only most pious people become devotees, and I'm reflecting on myself and thinking of my life, and actually I haven't done anything pious at all. So how come that I became a devotee? And Prabhupada said, yes, because I have created your piety. And it's not, some kind of mystical statement, because Srila Prabhupada have done so many austerities. He was going out, rain, shine, snow, or wind, whatever was there. And he was chanting. He was doing Harinam alone, lonely soldier. And so, yeah, I remember I was distributing books at Covent Garden, and I met one man who said, I saw Srila Prabhupada, and he was not a devotee. He just said, oh, I know your main man, the elderly man. I said, are you speaking about him? I showed Prabhupada's picture. He said, yeah, how he's doing. I told him, well, he left this world long time ago. He said, oh, this is very unfortunate. He was such a nice man. We lived, he lived in our neighborhood, and East Village, and we were, like teenagers, and we used to come to him. He was giving us some sweets or something and talking to us. And we were always surprised, that because it was so cold in New York and he was dressed so lightly and he was chanting outside, his mantra. And it didn't seem that this cold weather affected him at all. He was so happy when he was chanting. So yeah, Prabhupada never saw a snow before coming to New York in his life, right? And then he had to endure so many hardships, physical, emotional, everything. So he went through so many austerities. Why? Because he wanted to give people spiritual piety. He wanted to give them bhakti by chanting and by feeding them prasadam, giving them understanding of Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada put a lot of work into that. And what is the result of the development of spiritual piety? One becomes nirmukta, completely liberated from two things. First one is dvandva. Dvandva means duality of material existence. Heat, cold, happiness, distress, fortune, misfortune, good, bad, so many things, right? And then devotee, when he develops Krishna consciousness, he does not see any difference. Whether it is good or bad, it's all Krishna's mercy. And moha. Moha means illusion, so devotee becomes free from illusions. He's seeing material nature as it is. He understands, that like in Russia, we say that the only free thing in life is a cheese in a mousetrap, right? So because mouse doesn't have enough brain to understand the cost of cheese in a mousetrap, it goes for it, right? But the devotee is, doesn't have these illusions. He's seeing this, what do you call it? Bait. But then he's saying, okay, there is a hook inside. Devotee is not like mouse or fish. He understands how material nature can trap him if he will try to enjoy it, and that's why he is not interested in these things. Like Bhakti Saraswati gave one story in his Upakyana Upadesh. I'm not sure if we will be able to find it. I just remembered it. And it's called, oh yeah, here. We're lucky. You okay to watch another story from Upakyana Upadesh, instructive story?
Yes,
Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Okay. So the story is called, How Often Does a Bald Man Go Under a Bell Tree? Everyone can see? Picture on the screen?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, good. So once a bald man was going to city and happened to walk under a bell tree. So very determined to get to the city. By chance, a big bell fruit fell on his head from the tree. Bang! It hurt me very much because this bald head, no hair to soften the impact. Poor guy, can you imagine? Because these bell trees, bell fruits tend to be pretty hard, right? Okay, looks like two times, right? Next day, the same thing happened while he was passing again under the same bell tree. Again, fruit fell on his head. And then he says, I shall never walk this path. It hurts me because I am bald-headed. After a few days, one of his friends was walking along with him on the same way, and when they had to pass under this bell tree, I will not go that way, let's turn from here. How often does a bald-headed man visit a bell tree and get hurt? Similarly, no one having some bitter experience likes to pass along the same track in his lifetime. And then purport, apparently by Bhakti Saraswati, a lot of people may not follow this very simple example. While they suffer many times the same misery in this illusory, I guess, material world, they do seem to be as wise as the shaven-headed man in the story. An intelligent person comes to his senses from the very first bitter experience of illusory suffering. One who frequently undergoes the same kind of misery is nothing but an example of most foolish entity. So there are 4 types of intelligence, we know, right? And the first type of intelligence, I mean, topmost intelligence is that we just hear that, yes, this material world is the place of misery, and misery comes when we try to enjoy. And so that's enough for the one who has top level of intelligence, and he understands, okay, I better do not even try to enjoy. I don't even try to take this cheese because I'll be trapped by the mouse trap, right? So, but mostly people are not that intelligent. They have to see the result of, attempts to enjoy in the material world and result in misery. And when they see others suffering, they say, okay, I don't want to go there. But even more people have third class of intelligence, like this man in the story. They have to get their own bitter experience. And when they get hurt, then they learn the lesson and they say, okay, I will not do that anymore. But the fourth class of intelligence, we can say practically no intelligence. Those people, they just try to enjoy and they suffer, but they still continue trying to enjoy despite of all the sufferings. So, and yeah, devotees have the topmost level of intelligence. Why? Because devotees are getting their intelligence from Krishna directly. As Krishna explains in the 10th chapter, 10th text number 10 of Bhagavad Gita, 10:10, famous verse. Tasham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayantite. In which Krishna says that those who always engaged in my devotional service with love, and do it with love, to them, I'm giving them intelligence by which they can come to me. So Krishna is directly guiding his devotees. Krishna is directly telling his devotees, okay, you do that, but you don't do this. And so that's why devotees are in safe hands. They have topmost level of intelligence coming from Krishna directly. And so, yeah, this is the way how we can become purified and develop our attraction to Krishna and get rid of all the rust accumulated for years. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here. It's been an hour. And if anyone has questions or comments, you're welcome to share them.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I was just thinking on the purport. So it basically it describes how if devotees should be attracted to Krishna, but non-devotees are more attracted to the material or Maya, the material world. But even, I don't know, practicing devotees, they still have that attachment to enjoyment in the material world. So how do we, like, I don't know, more progressively cut that attachment?
Yeah. Well, it takes time. And in the beginning, one has very strong attachments. And the way is to connect those attachments to Krishna's service. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in Bhakti Loka, very nice book, which is kind of explanation of Upadeshamrita, nectar of instruction. And so he says, in the beginning, attachments are very strong, and that's why dovetailing attachments in Krishna's service is a very good strategy. Sometimes attachments can be so strong that it's not possible to give them up. Like one beginner devotee in Prabhupada times, he could not give up drinking. He was very much attached to alcohol. And he came to Prabhupada and he said, I'm sorry, Prabhupada, I want to practice Krishna consciousness, but I cannot give up drinking. And Prabhupada said, you don't have to give up anything in Krishna consciousness. You just have to connect it to Krishna. And that man was completely confused. He said, how can I connect drinking alcohol to Krishna consciousness, to serving Krishna? And Prabhupada told him very interesting thing. He said, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I'm the taste of water, right? So pure water is Krishna. And then he also says, Patram Pushpam Palamtayam, that you offer me fruit, leaf, flower, or water with love, and I will accept it. So what you can do is take your alcohol drink and offer to Krishna, but not the drink itself. Offer to Krishna just the water part of it. And tell Krishna, my dear Lord, I'm very sorry. You know, I have this very, very strong attachment. I cannot give it up, but please accept just, you know, the pure part of this, because I want to be connected with you and I want to serve you. And then offer it to Krishna and drink. Keep drinking. And this man, he followed Prabhupada's advice, and he lost interest in alcohol. And he gave up very easily. So yeah, this is the beauty of bhakti, that we don't have to do anything artificially. It's a very natural process, and it involves developing of higher taste. And once we have very strong higher taste, then automatically lower tastes disappear, in the same way as someone who enjoys very nice meal loses attraction to something very cheap and having very bad taste. It's like, yeah, we can understand it very easily that prasadam is giving so much spiritual pleasure and satisfaction that automatically we don't want any karmi food anymore. So that same principle is true to everything. But yeah, some attachments might be stronger, some attachments might be lesser, but the principle is always the same. Connect everything to Krishna, rather than trying to give up something artificially. I hope that makes some sense and answers the question to some degree.
Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
So anyone else has any comments, questions, complaints, suggestions? Sorry to torture the bald man for the sake of this story. Someone might come, but the sake of the story dropped two very hard fruits on this poor old man's head. This looks like an abuse.
Maharaj, I've got a question, but not
Yes.
relating to this class.
Yes.
Were Nanda Maharaj and Vasudev related?
Sorry?
Nanda Maharaj and Vasudev.
Were they
Vasudev.
relatives? Oh,
Yes.
yes. Yes, they were relatives, yes. Let me tell you exactly.
Ugrasen had two wives.
It's like, if you don't know anything, just ask Google.
Okay.
So here we go. You can also use that system. According to Hari Vamsha Purana, Vasudevananda, who took care of Krishna during the early years as a child, were brothers, because Vasudeva, his family, his father was Shurasena, and Kunti was his sister. And yeah, let's look at the Wikipedia page for Vasudeva. Nanda Maharaj, yeah, brothers. Let's see, what's the reference? I read it, but yeah, I can't remember the details. But yeah, they were brothers, basically speaking. You can do your own research.
Okay, nice.
Who were the parents of Nanda Maharaj? But yeah, they were brothers.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Vasudeva Krishna and Mathura Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
Are they the ones you were talking about, blue Krishna and black Krishna?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Now that Mathura Krishna and Vrindavan Krishna is actually the same person, but different forms of the Lord, they carry different moods. So it's really hard for us to understand. But yeah, they're almost like different persons, but actually it's the same person. It's same Krishna.
Thank you.
But his functions are different in different pastimes and in different places. All right, anyone else has any questions? Otherwise, we can finish our tonight's class. And I think we're gonna have class pretty soon, right? No, that tomorrow is Birmingham, right?
Yeah, tomorrow's Birmingham.
And so when do
I'll have some classes next week, Maharaj, and when I update your schedule tonight.
Oh, I see. Okay. You haven't scheduled anything yet.
No, I was waiting just to see what else was being scheduled.
All right. Okay, so thank you all very much for your kind attention, and stay safe. And yeah, don't ask me when the lockdown is over. I don't know answer to this question. And as my spiritual master says, stay home. And for us, staying home means staying in our spiritual home, staying Krishna conscious. So stay home, stay Krishna conscious, and everything will be all right. Krishna is executing his will on this planet. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Haribol.
Thank you.